Hi, today we're going to dive into anger because it's fabulous. This is a really important emotion, and I've titled this one Got Anger, and I'm going to go off on this because I love this energy, and there's a ton of wonderful, important things you need to know if you're on the journey from recovering from complex childhood trauma, complex PTSD, those sorts of things. Anger is important to your recovery journey. And so and it can let you know where you're at in the journey. We're going to talk about that. So, I'm Rachel McLeod. I am a mental health therapist, emotional wellness coach, and therapist mentor. And I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And so, the brain has a beautiful process for this that is native and natural to itself. That process can get blocked. When that's blocked, we're going to see tons of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress building up, carrying it around with us, wearing it in backpacks because the brain actually can't go through its process for resolving these problems for us. And so it's designed to do that. It's fast when we get that process unblocked and moving forward. Change is starting to happen immediately and instantly. It's phenomenal. People even ask me, is this magic? No, this is healthy brain function. We are getting that part of this process unblocked, and it's an electrical process, so it moves very quickly on its own. We can guide it. We do a lot of guiding it. But there's a lot of the work that happens without our guidance just because we are unblocking that one little piece of this. So powerful stuff here. Okay. Let's dive into anger. So, if you've got complex PTSD, anger is going to be part of your healing and recovery. And depending on where you're at, that will let you know a lot of things. So, I'm not going to go back beyond this because there's precursors to this. I'm going to stay out of that. I want to geek out, but I'm not going to. We're going to be at the point where you've got anger. Okay, and so anger is running through your system. You might be uncomfortable with anger. You might be coughing anger out. You might be seething. You might be enraged. You might be just hot mad, even pissed the fuck off. Excuse my language. But, right, you might be enraged. You might be livid. And I will tell you, this is great. This is phenomenal. And this is difficult energy to hold. And this, we want to do this part really, really well because this energy can burn your life down. We can make a lot of errors here. And so it's stuff to play with well. That's what I help people do is be angry well. Those are the goals we have here. But what's going on here with anger is this is letting you know you're not as broken as you might think you are. And things are starting to work well. Okay, you might be coming out of denial. You might be coming out of dissociation. You might be coming out of minimizing things, cognitive. Just what word am I reaching for here? um, yeah, you might be coming out of cognitive distortions. You might be starting to see things accurately. And so, as you're starting to see things accurately, you're getting mad. You're getting angry. Your anger is moving. Okay. Now, let's talk about anger. Anger is, this is how I look at anger. Anger is a secondary emotion, and anger is the reporters of boundary violations. That's what the energy, like, if you think about, I'm just going to make up some stories here. If you think about your anger as little people with briefcases just storming through, I'm just something playful here, right? If when they get to the top of the brain, they open the briefcase, the information and data and reports that they are providing is, this is the boundaries we've been violated, that have violated us. This is what they said to us. This is what they said. This is how they're doing it. This is the hole in our boundaries. What's going on? We're mad that the boundaries aren't being held very well. And then they did this, and then they did that. And it's also the report of your own boundary violations of yourself. And then we did this. We compromised our boundary in this way. You want this information coming up to the top of the brain. You want the top of your brain fully aware of all the boundary violations. If they don't know about it, they can't shift the boundaries to be more accurate to you. And so that means more of what you don't want is coming in, and more of what you want isn't coming in. And that makes you angry. And it's supposed to, that's the design. And so you want these little people with the little briefcases making it to the top, telling informing. This is when your prefrontal cortex is being informed for the first time. It's getting access to all the reports about the boundaries that have been violated. Okay? And it is a secondary emotion. That means you need, it's like purple, right? You need blue and you need red to be able to make any shade of purple. Same thing with anger. It's only going to show up if a couple things are present. Two things I'm going to highlight. One is a primary emotion, and that emotion, I find those emotions under there are one of three things: hurt, anger, hurt, powerlessness, or fear. Okay, in any order, all together. Sometimes it's just fear. Sometimes it's just hurt. Sometimes it's just powerlessness. Sometimes it's all three. Sometimes it's two. Therefore, when anger is present, we're going hunting for what's under there. Okay, that's one ingredient. The second ingredient with anger is that on some level you believe you matter. Okay, beautiful. That's excellent. That is showing up. There's lots of people that I work with that they are not angry yet. And it's not because they don't have a primary emotion. It's because they actually don't believe that they matter. That part is broken. That part is wounded. That part is hurt. So we're getting in there and we're repairing things. So when I have people that I can tell are obviously angry, but they're not using angry words. They're not aware of their anger. They don't have any insight to their anger, which you can tell this. I didn't prepare myself for that part, so I can't share what that looks like. I'll when I have words for that, I'll let you know. But you can tell, and you can tell that they're connected with the primaries, but their I matter is wounded, and so that's where. So we're hunting for what's under here. If they matter and they can't connect with any of the other emotions, we need to start working on those emotions and get those there, because now we're going to have two of things and anger is going to start. Okay, I prep people for this. I'm like, this is going to start happening. So I'm prepping you right now. As you're healing in your healing journey, you're going to come to a point when things are moving very well for you. You're healing. You feel like you matter. Your self worth is coming on. Your self value, your own connection with your self worth and your own value is showing up. And you've got one of these other primary emotions that makes anger. Okay, so it's going to happen. We want to prepare for this. We're preparing for this in the beginning, because we're working on taking energies, the energy of anger, which is an emotion called anger. That energy, we want to make sure we have the wiring to take it from our body to the top. The body's designed to do that. However, anger is registers in the brain as pain. So the mind body, the survival system, when anger starts moving, is going to start reacting, because the pain neurons are going to be like, there's pain here. The survival system's like, we don't even need to know, check it out, because it's not like that. It's not a reasoning center. It's not going to sit and check it out. It's going to be, we're in pain, get away from it. So we're going to react in fight, flight, freeze, faint, or fawn. And so the loop of the pain moving up to the top and getting up there, the little guys in the briefcases, the survival system will actually block the pathways and send them back into the body, and they don't actually get to make it to the top. So we'll have people start to get angry, and they'll get so distressed that their survival system will turn on. They'll dissociate. They'll start a shaming loop. They'll start a distraction. They will start suppressing. They'll start minimizing. Well, at least it's not as bad as somebody else. These are all survival strategies. And this is where we know we're not on the healing path. We are on a survival path, and we want to get on the healing path. We want to get the briefcase people to the top. We want to get the anger reports to the top. That's the design, right? We want this pattern happening. So we're actually going to jump in here and really help your survival system. Hey, we know there's pain. We know the pain neurons are flashing, and it's safe. This is good stuff moving. And we want to make sure that part of the brain is really engaged with. That's why we're doing brain work that is different than talk therapy here. Talk therapy is not going to convince your survival system that it's safe to let the little briefcase people through. It's not signaling that this anger is safe enough to process, that we're safe. If we're this angry, something bad must be happening right now. No, this bad thing happened 20 years ago. We're safe now. And let this information through. We can't keep carrying this backpack on us in our body. We need to use this information for what it's designed to do, which is create our health and wellness. So we want to really talk to that part of the brain. Hey, don't stop this healing process. You're safe. You're safe. We want to talk to it in its language so it can receive the safety signals. Yes, there's pain here, but you're safe. You're safe. It doesn't care about our words and our logic and our reasoning. It cares about what the information the body is sending up. And when the body is sending up anger, we want to also use the body to send up safety signals. Okay, that's why I teach four different interventions that are body interventions that designed to send messages of safety to your survival system. Um, and those work beautifully well. They're very, very fast. We can get a lot of trauma processed and past that survival system just by engaging that part of the brain in this very different, specific way. And interestingly enough, you're probably doing this already unconsciously, but how you're talking to your survival system probably has some other negative side effects. Like if you get really angry and you start eating, that eating is sending safety signals to this part of the brain. It's brilliant. It just has some negative side effects. Crying. This might be a time where you go reach for your cigarette or your marijuana or your alcohol or your wine, right? And so we're doing that brain work, but it has negative side effects, and it's not. We want to make sure the briefcase guys get up there. We don't just want to stop the pain. There's some of these strategies that will just stop the pain, suppress the pain, but we've shifted out and we're running different people through, right? We're done the little emotions in the back. We're running. We might be starting to run pleasure emotions through, joy, humor. We might be getting really funny, right? We're doing a different thing than supporting and escorting the anger through the process. And we need to do that because all the pleasure just zips through. And so that means that over years, all the pleasure zipped through, but what's still held in your body that can't get processed is the negative emotions. And negative emotions meaning, because they're not negative, but they're the emotions that register as pain by the pain neurons. And we don't like them. We call them negative because they're painful. And that's what they do. But those ones are the ones that get stored in our body, and our body keeps the score of them until they get resolved. This is not something you want to leave undone, because you will be full of negative emotion in your body, and it will show up as physical pain, tension in your muscles, illness, disease. Most people that don't get this processed, like people with high adverse childhood experiences, are associated with having the greatest chance of dying early from one of the big five: heart disease, cancers, these sorts of things. Like our emotions are tied into our physical health. It's just how it works, and we want to help our body uh, get this stuff out of the body, get it stored well, and have the mind body system create health and wellness in the body, growth, adaptability, flexibility, creativity, curiosity, exploration, adventure. That's the stuff that will be in the body, and we want that there. We don't want unresolved uh, trauma, unresolved anger, unresolved fear, hurt, powerlessness in the body. We don't want that there. We want to get it processed. So there's times when we just need to go and we need to do this specific anger work. Okay. So if you've got anger, you are healing. You are not as broken as you think you are. And this stuff is powerful, and it will spray out all over your life if you do not get it processed. Because once it's like this, I was explaining something similar today. This energy is here, and it's not going to stop. You're going to have to do something with it, suppress it, fight with it. Any of these things take effort. Distract it, entertain it, act it out. All those things are going to happen. And you got some options. So, and all these things take your time and energy, and they affect what you're doing with your time and how you're interacting with your friendships. And they're not meaningless. People are saying, "Oh, I'll just shove that in the back." Yeah, well, that might be cutting into your ability to relax. It might be cutting into your ability to look at your child with little hearts coming out your eyes. It happened to me this morning, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, can you see these hearts in my eyes?" And then it switched to laser beams. I had a kid do something, and I was like, "I'm watching you, sir." Anyway, but. Mama's eyes are shifting, right? But it's like we want that. We want the hearts coming out as we look at our kids. So, but if we're having to entertain unprocessed anger, it's such a burden. It's such a burden. I can tell you, it's such a burden. and you don't even know how liberating this stuff is to get it processed. You don't want this unprocessed because you're going to do things with it. Okay. Um, so here we are. So if you want this anger getting through the process, right? Once it gets through, it's going through the brain's healing, transformation, integration process, right? So these little backpack people, let's say these little briefcase people, let's say there's one of them, they're going to do something. Do you want them to do something in an unintegrated fashion where they can just drive the bus by themselves and make all these decisions under the influence of this anger? Or do you want them to go through the integration process and join with your values, your morals, your ability to hold multiple perspectives, compassion, cooperation, collaboration, solutions, words? Do you want them to mix in with all of them, become a thing, and then that one drive your bus? That one is a lot of rich goodness, right? And those are your options. You can either not get it processed, and then it's going to jump up and you're going to have to wrestle it off your wheel. Now you're fighting with yourself, and you got inner conflict. Or you can get it integrated and give it a bunch of buddies, and they can make decisions that are going to drive your bus. And now you're doing stuff that's collaborative and cooperative, and this anger has been informed. Anger also, this is the wonderful thing about anger, is counterintuitively, and emotional intelligence wise, does not make logical sense. When anger is moving through the system and it gets processed, the brain converts it into kindness, assertiveness, productivity, and boundary holding. It's one of the energies that we will use to hold our boundaries, and it will be connected with all these things: kindness and assertiveness. You'll watch yourself asserting yourself, being kind in ways you never thought you could be kind. So when somebody's got anger moving, not only are you not as broken as you think you are, because things are moving and working well, but also you're about to have a lot of kindness, a lot of assertiveness, and a lot of power to get productive, to get things done, and to hold boundaries, to keep out what you don't want and bring in what you do want in a flavor that has to do with your values and morals. Right? That's powerful. Not in a flavor of I'm angry. Let me just throw some anger sauce around here so I can get what I want. I'm just going to be aggressive instead of assertive. I'm going to be passive aggressive because I'm mad. That's what we're going to do with the energy. If the door to being assertive is blocked, the brain has to make that door. The brain has to open that door. If that's blocked, that energy is going to circle around in here like this, and it's going to shoot out into one of these guys. It has to go somewhere. Aggressive, passive aggressive, manipulative, or passive. The anger is going to do something here. And that's how you can tell if people are angry and they're not aware of that they're angry. When you ask questions like, well, that was passive aggressive. Why'd you do that? I know why they did that. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of being passive aggressive. It's an indicator that the door to being assertive is blocked. So why are you over here? Why didn't you go over here? Right? Well, the brain hasn't made this yet. Okay, great. Let's make that. Let's work on that. Come on, brain. And the brain will make that. And pretty soon that anger energy gets over here through the assertiveness, kindness. So if you've got a lot of anger growing, you're about to, not growing, but flowing, you're about to have a massive growth spurt if you get that energy converted. It's beautiful. It's the emotional intelligence organization and alchemy that really helps us to create our life in a way that is rich with emotional intelligence. It's our mind body system bringing in and being inclusive of our emotional intelligence, the what's in the back, the little briefcases, right? That stuff. Okay, so I do want to invite you right now to work with these emotions in a very different way. I want to invite you to enroll in my free program, Interventions for Inner World Transformation. Get a hold of some of these different interventions that really work with this in a very different way to support your brain to process anger, not to suppress it, not to distract from it, but to actually process it. If you can walk your brain through its process for processing and converting anger into assertiveness and kindness and all the rich, beautiful things, and it can do it once, it's like, oh, and then you do it twice. Oh, excuse me, there's something happening. There's a pattern. 3 times, it's starting to read it. 4 times, it's like, I think I like this better. I think I could do this. And 5, and now the brain is starting to do it itself. We're repairing this process. We're repairing the mind-body system, the nervous system's relationship with this anger energy. We're helping it function at higher levels with anger. And when this is really, really good, when you're so good at anger processing, it moves to an unconscious program and you don't even need to be aware of it. You don't need to be aware that you're angry. You might not be aware that you're angry. All of a sudden, you got a lot of kindness and assertiveness coming on. Your system has made something for you that is effortless. It's running on the subconscious programs. It's not effortless, but it's a fraction of the energy of using willpower, and you're not aware of it. So it's lovely. But anyway, using these interventions, when you find one that works, and you'll know quickly if it works or not for your brain, you try it, see if you get results. I'm teaching there's a video in there where I show you what you're looking for. Many people don't need that. They just know. They're like, wow, I can feel the before and after. And some people do, right? If you've got more complex PTSD, complex issues, that's when the results of the intervention can be more subtle, but you'll see it if you know what you're looking for. And so I give a training in there, what you're looking for, the brain function. You'll see if your brain is actually processing. So I invite you to trial that. If you want to, I have a program called Inner World Transformation, and this is for resolving some anxiety, depression, and PTSD, and really creating inner world synergy and wellness and stuff that just like you're just walking on health and wellness in your inner world. And so it's really important to do this inner work, and that's the guide I've developed to do that. It's what I do with my coaching clients. It's what I walk my therapy clients through. And I know that a lot of therapists don't teach this the way I do, but I still want you to have a path. I still want you to have this available to you so you can enroll in it and walk yourself through it, walk with it, your therapist through it, whatever is beneficial for you. So I love it. I just got an email today from somebody sharing their continued inner world transformations years after enrolling the program, and that's just how this works. So wonderful connecting. I'll see you all later. Take care. Bye.